Hey y'all, my name is Susie Logan and I am a service pattern designer. And I want to welcome you to Let's Color with Susie. That's me. And I developed these magical color changing brushes for Procreate. And I use them a lot to create some of my patterns that I use and that I sell out there in my little shops. And I wanted to show you how I use them. And I was just designing away tonight and I came up with some neat little things and I thought, you know what? I need to show um, my friends how I do this because it's really cool. So I thought, I'll make a video and then I can share it with everybody. So where we are. And I thought I would call it Let's Color with Susie because I've been every time I want to get somebody to use my brushes, I think it's like playtime. So I thought that would be fun. So anyway, let's get started. The first thing tonight, we are going to use my Happy Hearts brush. I haven't added it out there to my susiness.com website yet or my Etsy shop, but I will be putting it out there. I have some other hearts brushes very similar to this one. This one's just like a one that sometimes does little double hearts and it's got a cuter shape to it. So anyway, I just wanted to show you how I use it. So tonight I'm going to play back right here. I'm going to show you my time lapse replay here. Oh, sorry about that. It was me creating a half drop pattern setup. And this is just me. You see me over and over, just coloring hearts and getting ready. And then here I am I'm turning those into half drop patterns. I'm going to show you those patterns in a little bit. But you can see it doesn't take me very long at all to create a pattern really fast with these brushes. These that I'm doing like the individual hearts, those take a little bit longer because I'm sitting there doing one little heart at a time. But I don't have to change colors or the size of my brush or anything. I just tap on the screen with my brush and it gets bigger or smaller. I did adjust it so that these would be this size and these would be smaller and stuff. I did like duplicate my brush and adjust it so I'd have like a small version where I could just do little hearts where I didn't accidentally make them too big so that whenever I tapped it, it'd be always be the same size. But normally I liked being able to change the size of it by just clicking, pushing and adding a little bit more, putting a little bit more pressure on it makes the brush do things like make the size larger, but also sometimes it'll even change the way the colors are created for my brushes. So anyway, here's me. Here I was going meticulously going in there and putting little teeny hearts all in there and filling it in. And it's another one that you can see how much time it took me. It wasn't long. Anyway, this is just me playing. I didn't like what I was doing there. It's just me going and doing a few hearts and then filling in the negative space and then flipping the sides around to make the sides meet for a half drop pattern. That's what I did for most of these. I really like doing half drop patterns because I think it makes it more interesting because when you have a half drop, it just doesn't go straight across and everything isn't so repetitive. So anyway, but you can see me creating away tonight on these little designs. And what I thought was cool was after I had created all these designs, then I really love playing with layers. And when I was in the process of saving my designs, I started messing with the layers and I created some different kinds of designs based on combining the layers. So it turned out really cool how I ended up doing it. Hard time with this one matching up the edges. So I finally got something that I liked though, but it was just a little bit difficult to get the hearts to match up to the next page when I was messing with it. So I had to go in there and fill it. You can see how I flipped the top and the bottom so they would meet, and then I flipped side to side and make those meet, and I just filled in the little spaces. So this one wasn't a perfect thing, but then okay, I'm gonna stop there with that. What I wanted to show you, okay, okay, I wanted to show you like some of those designs, okay, and things like this design. Yeah, this is clear, and see how it's actually got a clear background. If I clicked off this black background, you can see how there's no background behind it. This is PNG. It's a layer with no background on it. So I had this pink layer right here, right? Well, I also have, okay, so that was one. I'm gonna go back and put the black instead of the pink. Excuse me, let me do this real quick. So I had this black layer, and then I had these hearts, and I had like these hearts, and these hearts, and then I had you saw you saw that layer of heart, right? And let's see, let me go back here. Those are up here. Okay, so when I was working with these, when I was working with this layer, okay, when you have layers, there's each of the layers has, you can modify the opacity when you click on this little N. It is the normal. It is your normal layer. All these little things are different little settings that you can do with it. I'm not going to go over all of them right now, but I wanted to show you a couple just because like I had this normal layer and like I made another layer. And then after I made the other layer, I made a few little little changes with it. Okay. And so when I did that layer, I like went in there and went in there and I like, well, I took my smallest brush. I don't have that one in here, but anyway, I took a small brush and I went in here and I made some little changes. This is probably good that you can see it this way anyway. I'm going to duplicate that last layer and then I'm going to merge those two together, okay? Okay, so you have this layer, the original one, and then you have the one above it. See, they're a little bit different. Okay, in your layers menu, there is a layer setting called difference. And you can see right here, it shows you what's different between that layer and that layer. But you also have your subtract layer. So if you subtracted that from that, that's what would be left. The difference in, oh, in exclusion, that's because I think, I'm not sure what the exclusion did in this particular one. Subtract. I was trying to show you the difference between that earlier. I was going to do that. Subtract and different. Difference is one way, subtract is the other. I can't remember what I've done with these layers. Oh, it's not important, but anyway, I'm sorry. Let's go back to just the regular layers. Okay, so that's one of the designs I created. It has no fill behind it. Right now it looks like it has black, but it has nothing behind it. And I'm putting the black out there. So I had that layer, and I had this set of hearts and this set of hearts. And since they're all half chop patterns, they would all meet the same way. So if I have more than one layer stacked on top of each other, look at that. See how it ends up looking cute? Cute with the other layers thrown in there. Lord, my dog is a little itchy. Just by adding another layer of it, it gave it a whole new feel to it. And something else I was doing was when I had done that, I started doing stuff like I played with this, the screen and overlay and things like that. And it just gave me a different look, a totally different feel to the design. And depending on whether I had black or pink or whatever I had back there, I went through these and I was just messing with just changing the light just by this is on normal and this is okay, normal, 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 normal. Okay. That and that, those two combined. So if I take this off normal, change the lighten, or if I, lighter color, I can just come in here and do these different things and I get totally different. See, I think this is a cool effect. The exclusion. And then you just don't know what kind of effect you're going to add by throwing something else in there. I can just go back in there and put this as normal or something, and it just gives me a whole different feel to it. You just don't know what kind of effect until you try it. To just play with the opacity on these and just take a different layer and just put them together, and then you just get a neat effect. It's like a collage kind of effect, but with some really neat. And I would like to show you, like, okay, this is like, okay. So say we have this layer, okay, this normal layer, and then we have, I'm not going to do subtract on this one. I'm going to do normal on this one. It's the same layer over it. It's the same layer. Okay, let me do a different layer. Let's do this one. It's different. I can tell that's a different layer. Okay, so you see how this looks? Isn't that cute? I'm going to copy canvas and paste. I'm going to save that because I like that. And I'm going to put that out there in my store. Okay, make it go. Okay, so I have this and this. I want to show you something about these layers. So I have this layer. Oops. Layer. And I have that layer. This layer and that layer. Okay. I'm going to put this layer back. This setting right here, you see darker color? What darker color is it looks at the two layers, this layer and that layer, and it compares them. And when two layers are layered on top of each other, and there's a place that's darker on one than it is on the other layer, then that's what color you're going to see. So it's as if each of these little spaces, everywhere there's a bit of color, has its own little space. And if you think about it like for instance, if we turn on, sorry, let me go put on a grid on here so we can see it. Okay. So see right here in this, oops, see right there where it's purple in the middle of that heart. Let me, right there. You see that little area right there? I'm gonna go and I'm gonna put this other layer on top. Okay? You see how like right there where that purple heart is, how there's like a little teeny red heart that's popping up on top of it, and there's a blue heart, a big blue heart popping up on top of it too. And so if I change this layer to darker color, watch what happens. Okay, the darker color is the color that shows through. And since we've got black out there too, it's taken into effect, I guess. Or I guess that's just my background. It's just that, okay, the purple is darker. So the purple is what shows up. But if I change this to dark color and I tell it lighter color, the lighter color is the color that shows up. See how the light blue and all that? But if we had told it that it was the darker colors we wanted, it ends up only showing us the darker color. And if you go back to normal, you can see real quick. Normal. You can see under the pink, like this blue versus the pink. Let's see. If we tell it lighter color, see how the pink is what takes precedent, the light pink does. The dark pink, the blue versus the other pink is not the darker color. The blue is the lighter color, but if you tell it darker color, see how the pink, it's be the one that's on top. So anyway, it just gives you an interesting, different way it like overlapped and just a different effect that it creates. And I just think it's magical. Sometimes like it's really neat how it just how the colors just blend together. I think that's really fun. And I can just play with this. This is vivid light, linear light, mix, different. See, look at that. Isn't that cool? That's just really interesting, isn't it? And it's not something I would have necessarily have just drawn up myself. I wouldn't have thought to make it look like that, but I really like the way that looks. And I just go in here and just play with changing what the layer does. Yeah, exclusion. Let's see. I'm going to go back here. Well, we got this is the difference right now. So instead of difference, let's something else. Let's type linear light. I think that's making light layer. Let's see what linear light does. Normal. And so there's a normal layer. It's a normal layer on top of that. Let's see what happens when I turn this to linear light. Linear light. Okay, so it's like it took my layer and when I told it linear light on that one, it like let that lower layers shine through to the top layer, you know? And it just brought that through. Isn't that cool? That's interesting, isn't it? Like everywhere there was something back there, it let it shine through. And then we've got that black layer behind it. If we can click the pink layer and put the pink layer back if we wanted to, or we can just, you know, I can add another layer like this one. Let's see, I'm gonna go in there and if I tell it to like subtract, I told it to subtract this layer of hearts out of that. That's what that did. It made it dark and subtracted it out and left the black. I think it would still subtract it. I don't know what it would do if I left it subtract and didn't have the black back there. I don't have the black layer on, so it just leaves it, it takes it down to black. So if I have, I can just kind of, there's just all kinds of effects you can do. And you can play with this and change the color dodge. You can do screen where it's just a light screen of the thing. And then I just put this other one, that's exclusion. That's what layer when it's on exclusion. Otherwise, that layer looks like this. See, it's normal. On top of that, what did that look like before? Okay, so there it is with normal. There it is with the screen on the background where it has just a little hint of white and those other hearts behind it. So it's really fun just to play with these settings and see what you get out of them just by just by experimenting. That's how I learned how to do it. I just play until I get an effect I like, even if I don't understand the setting necessarily. I mean, I've got a good feel for them, but even if you don't understand exactly what they do, you can get some neat effects. You don't have to understand exactly what it does. You can just play with a layer, just put it on top, and then just do 2 layers, and then just you can really create some neat effects. Yeah, I like how these are really light pastels on the pink. I think I'm gonna copy that. Copy canvas, put that one out in the store. And let's see what other effects we can get out of here tonight. Okay, this is screen. It's a screen. I'm gonna tell it. um, Let's see. Add makes it like do it. Add this. Add, it's a lot of white to it, and so here I am adding some other things. This is subtract. I'm gonna take it off subtract. I'm gonna do. There's normal. I'm gonna leave it on normal. This one instead of divide, I'm gonna just go through all the different settings. Saturation, hue. See, that exclusion is neat. I think that's a cool effect. Somebody else will think that's cool like I do. Don't you think it's cool? I think it's cool. I can paste it that one. It seems familiar. Okay, so instead of exclusion, let's see what else we can get in here. Let's do another layer. Let's just keep on adding layers and keep on doing things to it. Okay, that's neat. I like that layer too. Yeah, I like that. Mm, mm, okay. Exclusion. This. Oh yeah, and then I had this. Let's put this down here underneath these. This swirly layer. Oh, here I'm gonna show you what it looks like before I put it on underneath everything. It looked like this. I took that mark and I used the liquify tool. I'll show you what I did. I took, whoops, didn't mean to do that. I'm gonna duplicate that layer. Okay, and I took the magic wand tool. I went to liquify, and then I just started doing things like this, swirling them or expanding is what I ended up doing on that pattern. Just this is no longer going to meet up. I'm just going to show you kind of some kind of cool thing I can do with that. And then I can use a little bit of twirl, right? And push. And then, no, do expand. Do expand. Anyway, you can do cool things like this. And that's just using the liquify tool. So all I did was I took this and I liquefied it and I made it look like that. So I can take this and like put it underneath this other stuff. Let's put it underneath all those layers. Ready? Bam. Let's see. I don't think you can see it right now. I've got so many things on top of it. So let's just not put it under all of them. Let's put it under one at a time. Let's try. See, I can just have a full layer underneath that. See, I think that's pretty neat. Only thing is, that's no longer, it's just a background. It's no longer a seamless background. My other one was this. I'll put this one underneath there. One is seamless. I'll leave that one there. Yeah, and I like that. Canvas paste. Do that down here. And let's see what else I got. Yeah, see, you can mess with that and you can have other things going through that. Let's go back to normal on this. I tell you what, we're going to go back to that other layer, this layer, and I'm going to put it. Tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to put it on top of one of those other layers instead of underneath it. So now this layer, normal, I'll put this on top of it, and you can't see through it right now. But if I change the layer, I can do an overlay. I can change the opacity on it. I can change the overlay, and this is a repeating layer right now. And do different stuff with it like that. See, it made it look neat. That looks like it's been where you use all different kinds of media, mixed media. That reminds me of mixed media, like I've colored all over it with chalk and just smudged it all around the place. I think that's pretty cool myself. Hey, what we're going to see what that looks like when it's repeated. Copy canvas paste. I don't know if I can test it. It might be too big a file now. My Amanda Grace, Amanda Grace Design. She has this great pattern tester. I use it all the time because she has it where I can test my half drop. And that's what got me onto her site from another site I used to be on. It's not that is it. Okay, it's not gonna lie. That's usually all I have to do is drag my pattern over there. So if I hadn't been so complex, I might have been able to drag it over there, but let's see. One of these other ones will drag or not. Yeah, see that one will drag. This will probably drag. No, it's not gonna drag. Oh, it lets me test my pattern to see how it's going to repeat and see if it meets itself well. Oh, looks pretty good. It lets me try out different ones. I can go and just drag my design over here. And I've tested this one out. This one, I wonder if it'll let me test any of the more complicated ones. Oh, let me test that one. See, I really like that. Something about it. I like that painterly look. I'm a messy girl. I'm Susie Messmaker. It's me. I'm messy. And I like messy and abstract stuff. I think it's cool. It just makes it more interesting to me. And it's gonna let me do any of these other ones. Let me test that one. And see, that's another one I got from combining the layers earlier before I started working with you guys. It's one of the ones that's what made me realize, I need to show them how cool this is, what you can do with just messing around with layers. See, that's just two of those layers layered together. See how neat they turned out. Let's see this one. Yeah. Interesting. And I figured, even if it's not something I necessarily like, I think somebody else will like it. But most of the stuff I do like anyway. But I think just because I don't like it, that means somebody doesn't like it. And you know what they say? I heard this thing on relationships once, and it was saying, you know, not everybody likes pineapple. You know, Some people like pineapple, some people don't like pineapple. Not everybody likes pineapple. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with pineapple. I just love that. I think of that all the time because I just think it's so true. You know, just because I don't like it doesn't mean that somebody else isn't going to love it, you know? And everybody's got things that they like. Anyway, I just hope everybody likes what I like. Some stuff I think is just so cool because I really like all these layers together. And I wasn't even trying to layer them all together first. And then I was like, oh, duh, I need to layer these things because it's so much more interesting than this. See? And this, then went out there and I just combined the layers and bam, it's so much more interesting. Also, like changing the layers, the settings and stuff gives you some nice contrast and just it does things I wouldn't normally choose to do, and it gives me different colors I wouldn't necessarily think to put together either. You know, and it gives me it added some contrast by making the layers different. So just really got some really cool effects. Let's see if we take that. Hey, where I want that one. Okay. I did save this one. I really like this and I don't want to lose it. So ink canvas. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Oops. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I thought y'all might enjoy seeing how I go and create some different effects. You know, just playing with these layers. These layers are awesome. I love the layers menu. It's one of my favorite tools, and I use it all the time. Add texture to things. Sometimes I'll go out there and like, let's see. Oh, my splitter splatters. These aren't. These are just. These are not my final splitter splatters, but anyway, it'll give you an idea. See, splitter splatter. My splitter splatter tool, and it doesn't matter what color I have because they do stuff based on that wouldn't doesn't matter. But see my splitter splatter tool. Say I do something like that. It's my splitter splatter tool. Is that cool or what? It's pretty, isn't it? But it's a nice little texture, and I can even do stuff like incorporate it into design. You see, just by it's like mixed media. It just I love that collage, just messy collage. So I just feel like I want to rub my fingers all over there, like finger paints, with those smudged the way those little swirls made it look. So I just wanted to show y'all that's how you can do. You can add textures to your designs by just doing something like that. You can make your own texture, and you can take you can take a photograph of something, and add the texture. And like had just drawn a lot of lines and repeated them. Woo. And that's how I created like this kind of texture. Now, you just go and you mess with the settings on that. And, you can just add different kinds of textures and stuff too. It didn't have to be that one, but and I had, yeah, that was really more polka dot, but it started looking like linen. And that doesn't look like linen. I don't know why I called that one linen. It can give it a whole different feel to it. See how who would have known, that you'd end up there from what we were looking at a minute ago. Yeah. So it looks like I painted it, like way. I think that's really cool, isn't it? Hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed talking to you and had fun coloring for sure. I always have fun coloring, but it was fun showing it to my friends. So I hope y'all like this.